Hello everyone, it's so good to be here again. It's gonna be a very interesting week at the cinema for me. I went last night and tonight to see two different movies, and probably tomorrow I'm gonna go see another one. In any case, let's start with Saltburn. It's a film that I meant to see already a couple weeks ago, but unfortunately I got sick. Yet even though I'm a little bit late to the party, here I am and I finally caught up on this film. I did see that it didn't get the best reviews from critics and users alike. It's ranging around the 60s on average, but nonetheless I was very curious to see it. I admit that I haven't seen Emerald Fennell's previous film, which was A Promising Young Woman, a film that I've heard a lot of interesting things about, and I do see that it's on Netflix, so I might just go check it out after this film, because after my impressions of Saltburn, this was a very interesting cinematic experience. I had no idea whatsoever what to expect, and it kept me guessing throughout the whole entire runtime. Of course, I won't go into any spoiler detail, because there are quite a lot of interesting twists and turns in this film, but it is interesting how the tone of this film starts off. I was quite enthralled with this depiction of love at first sight and this obsession, this desire for someone. And the focus here is on Jacob Elordi, who we did see previously this year in Priscilla, who played none other than Elvis. And he was already super charismatic in that role, shockingly so, and honestly it continues over here. My God, is this guy handsome and charismatic. He just has such a magnetic energy about him that it's impossible not to fall in love with him in some way, shape, or form, as do all the characters in this film. And Oliver Quick, played by a sensational Barry Keoghan, is no different. But it is interesting to see how the tone of this film violently shifts in a very different direction to an almost horror-like territory at times. It goes to these very dark, sinister, and intimate, almost voyeuristic territories in really shocking ways. At times it feels like it goes a few steps too far, but Barry Keoghan has such a mesmerizing performance here. This is perfectly complemented due to the cinematography and an incredible set design. Honestly, the art direction in this film is quite jaw-dropping. I really love the use of light and shadows, especially the use of shadows, and the way it complements Barry Keoghan's face. He has such a curious and angular shape to his face. It's not the typical kind of beauty. It really creates this almost vampiric vibe about him. Honestly, at one point I wasn't sure what direction the film was going to. It's hard to not get too excited over here and start going to some of the details, because I really don't want to spoil anything for you guys, but let it be known that the narrative arc transition in this film is quite fascinating. Once again, Jacob Elordi's character Felix is so handsome and charismatic, and Barry Keoghan's Oliver Quick initially gives off this very timid, shy, and unconfident version of himself, but it is surprising just how much of a silver-tongued devil he really is. Frankly, Barry Keoghan was probably my main reason of attraction to this film, because I absolutely love his performances from the last year, like we've seen in The Joker, or especially in The Banshees of Inisherin, and it is good to see him in a lead role, and I think he perfectly helms that. My God, what a performance. But frankly, he is not the only highlight in this film. It's actually impossible to rank the acting highlights in this film, because there are gems upon gems hidden in this film. Honestly, the entire cast is an absolute banger. Rosamund Pike is almost a surefire bet for a Best Supporting Actress nomination, but much of the same can be said for many of the other performances in this film. So to keep things simple, I am really impressed by the art direction through the cinematography, the set design, the costume design. It's a beautifully crafted film, and some of the needle drops in this film are absolute highlights of this year. And of course, the performances from A to Z are absolute firecrackers. And I think it would be an absolute crime to not give at least some recognition to the acting prowess in this film in this award season. Now, if I had to be a little bit critical about the film, I do think that it ever somewhat fumbles near the end of the film in terms of its pacing, though by that same token, it is a film that just kept me guessing right up to the last second. It was really hard to know where we were going. Even if in the last leg of the film, I do feel that it loses some of its razor-sharp qualities. So yeah, I might be in the minority here, but I'm easily ranging from an 8 to an 8.5 out of 10 on this one. This was a surprisingly eerie and sinister and dark film. If you're gonna go watch this film, I hope you're not prude. It does not shy away from sexuality, and it does so in some really strange and disturbing and far too intimate, and once again, these very voyeuristic ways. Wherever that red line is of what is normal in sexuality in films, it just leaps right across it and goes into these very dark, weird, uncomfortable, but at the same time, viciously fascinating and mesmerizing ways. I do think it is a bit of a special film, even if it won't be everyone's cup of tea. So there are my impressions for Saltburn. I'm glad I got to see it, so I'll leave it at that for now, wishing you and your loved ones nothing but the best. Like I mentioned before, I saw another film tonight actually, so we'll be talking about that in the next video. Talk to you soon.